Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 on Ray County, Missouri, where we have changed a few things during the winter. So let's just go ahead and jump in to the drone and show you what we've done. So just a couple things have changed around the farm. We did move the hay shed so that I could get the manure pit closer to the cow barn, and we are now spawning manure. I haven't put this shed back up yet that the hay equipment was in, so it's just kind of sitting out right now. We actually put up a bigger chicken barn, doubled our chicken capacity to start, and actually we'll be able to have up to 360 chickens now. So we're producing a lot more eggs than we were. Moved the hay shed over here. And part of the reason that I made those changes is because we did some updates over at the co-op to change up our production options. So over here, the farmer's market is now over here by itself, over here at our sell point. But over at our production area, we got rid of the big co-op. I don't know how many of you watched the end of the last episode, but you'll notice when I went to unload the corn, the trigger point for that co-op was actually outside because the gates weren't tall enough to get a semi inside of it. So the dairy is over here now. We still have the grain mill, but we've also put up an oil mill and I forget this is called. It's some sort of a processed food production. And you can see we already have some pallets on the ground here in March. So let's get back to the farm and put this drone, my nice high-speed drone. Let's go put this thing back down to show you what all we have going on, because it's March. It's going to be time to get in the fields. So let's go over here. Let's land this thing. So going into our production menu, we have the dairy, the green mill, still making wheat flour, but we are almost out of wheat, so that's probably going to get shut off this month. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and deactivate it because we're almost out of wheat. And then I can, you know what? Might as well run it until it's empty. Oil mill and the dairy aren't doing anything yet, but in the preserved food factory, we're making noodle soup. So we have 20,000 liters of flour there already, and 55 flour and 10 eggs becomes 40 noodle soups. So if I go here in my menu and find my noodle soup, I have $18,000 of noodle soup over there. Still got $37,000 of oats left over, $14,000 of milk, but that's not going to go anywhere. Hay, we're going to keep, and the eggs are going to go over to the production. So you saw over there by the chicken barn that we have a pallet of eggs that's ready, so we're going to get the skid steer out here in a second and go load those up. So while I'm at it, let me get a hay bale out. We'll go over here and get the skid steer, but making the change in what we're going to do, we're not going to do any corn. We are probably going to put down oats and soybeans here in the spring, and then in the fall we're going to switch over and probably do canola, wheat, maybe barley. The land all is gone. This is a new mod. It should be linked in my itch page in the description. This is an edit of the Summers Super Chisel. It actually now works as a subsoiler, a mulcher, and a cultivator. So it does all three things at once. I couldn't pass that up, but the problem is that requires 630 horsepower. Because it requires 630 horsepower, the quad track had to grow up, and the quad track grew up into a quad track 715. Yes, we had to go get a big horse to pull that super chisel, but I think it'll be worth it. Let's jump into the skid steer real quick. Go get this hay bale into the cows. Make sure we feed Annabelle. Oh, that's another change there too. Got a milk trailer and actually traded in the Mauer hoppers, and now we're back to a Wilson hopper and a Dakota hopper. You're probably saying, but why do you have 2 grain trailers when you only had 1 semi? Well, guess what? We have more than 1 semi now. I'll show you that here in a second. Oh, I'm gonna have to pull that tractor forward. It's not far enough forward for this hay bale to get to the trigger, so. There we go. Now this should be far enough forward. So having that meadow grass out there has actually been paying dividends, because I've only been having to drop 1 hay bale in here per month. It'll slowly go down over the course of the month. You can see there 31,000 liters of food, 10,000 liters of milk, 21,000 liters of straw. We do have almost 24,000 liters of slurry though, so we may actually have to rent a slurry tank in order to get rid of some of that, because it's already at half the capacity of what that will hold. We're gonna turn on our Farmall 140 here. Drop some wheat into the chickens. I should have looked first to see how much they ate. They ate quite a bit. This thing holds 9,000, so we're probably going to have to increase the size of our wheat field. So I'm thinking about maybe buying, if I bring up my map, I'm thinking about going back there and buying Walter's fields from 24 and 25 kind of back there in the corner, and maybe adding to my wheat fields back there with those 3. We'll feed Annabelle real quick, and then we got to go switch out the forks. So we can take these eggs over to the processed food factory. I'm not going to sell any of the noodles yet. I'm going to finish making them, and we'll maybe sell them next month. Actually, I probably should look and see how much a slurry tanker is going to cost me. I may have to sell them now. Let's look at that real quick. Find slurry tankers down here somewhere. $31,000. So we have enough to get a decent sized one right now. So I might go ahead and sell some stuff off though, just to give us a little income, because we do have to buy some seed and fertilizer for the seeder as well. We did get a new seeder also. I'll show you guys that here in a minute. Sorry about the coughing in the background. I have an 8-year-old that doesn't know how to take a cough drop or drink some water. I don't know if you guys heard that, but park that. I know it's not quite a full pallet of eggs, but we're going to go ahead and take those in. But while we're at it, we're going to go over here and grab the truck. Oops, a little too fast there. Alright. we're going to take the trailer with us so we can take the skid steer with us to load up those that noodle soup so we can go sell it off. And then we might go ahead and sell off our last bit of oats. I'm going to take you guys all the way over there with us so you can see what's going on over there. And then I think I've settled on a format I like, is giving you guys a nice decent intro here, let you know what's going on, and then finish up with the time lapse of the work we're doing for that current run. So we're gonna go ahead and get that on there, turn it off, jump back in the pickup, fold up our ramps, strap everything down. Now we're gonna head over. Because with that preserved food factory, we've actually changed what we're gonna do on the field over there by the co-op area. It is no longer going to be an oat field. Like I said, I'm gonna do one big field of oats, and probably this year a big field of soybeans over here on this farm, just for financial purposes. But then in the fall, I'll come behind and put down some canola for the oil mill, and then maybe I'll just do one big field of wheat, and that way I can store enough wheat to feed the chickens, and then take the rest over to the flour mill, and then maybe the smaller field can be oats. But that's part of the reason I went to that super chisel, because now I only have to do one singular tillage pass. I don't have to hit it with the VT and then plow it and then field cultivate it. That super chisel will actually do all of that in one motion. So it'll mulch, plow, and cultivate. So looking forward to see how that works. A little wobbly back there on the skid steer. Just the road's a little bumpy, but alright, we've made it there. But before I pull in here, I'm going to show you what we've done over here. Is we dropped this other field down a little bit and then leveled it off. And the reason we did that, oh look, we got some flowers sitting out here too. Maybe we could actually sell some of that. The reason we did that is because we have turned this field into a rice paddy. You can see that down there at the bottom. It says it needs plowing. So this is going to be a rice field now. That's going to go in, and we can put that in both the oil mill and the preserved food factory. Haven't 100% decided which way we're going to go, but that's where we're at. So I am gonna jump off camera here. We're gonna get these eggs dropped off over here at the preserved food factory. Maybe go sell off some of this extra flour and and noodle soup that we have sitting out here. And then I'm gonna finish up with some time-lapse action of the quad track and the super chisel, getting all the fields ready for the spring. Maybe even throw in some slurry action there for you guys, just to get all these fields ready. So we'll get that taken care of, and we'll see you next time. As always, thanks for watching. Enjoy the little time lapse here at the end, and we'll catch you next time here on Moose Farms.
traveled this big world, lonesome I have roamed. I've laid down in green pastures, I've rolled down rocky roads. And as my hair turned silver, I lost my lust for gold. Now cups of wine can't satisfy the thirst within my soul. Narrow is the road to glory. Perdition's gates are broad and wide. On the steps you take to ponder, from the path to not far wander, for the narrow road to glory's worth the price. I broke bread with the wicked, I made my plans with fools. To the gates of destruction I'd led many others through. And though my sins were many, I reached out for his robe, and through his tender mercies now my cup overflows. Narrow is the road to glory. Perdition's gates are broad and wide. On the steps you take to ponder, from the path to not far wander, for the narrow road to glory's worth the price. From the lonely orphan children to the great kings of men, all are bound to perish. Death is the wage of sin. So turn away from gossip, deceitfulness, and woe. Let the carpenter from Galilee take up your heavy load. Narrow is the road to glory. Perdition's gates are broad and wide. On the steps you take to ponder, from the path to not far wander, for the narrow road to glory's worth the price. For the narrow road to glory's worth the price.
Well, I've been riding hard toward the borderline. I am a wanted man. From San Antonio across the Eagle Pass, down to the Rio Grande. Old Black River, you stand in front of me on a moonlit night. If I don't get across, they'll hang me up high. I may be guilty, but I'm not ready to die.